Start. It's already time, na? Thank you. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banajari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahams Parivrajikachari Astotar Amri Charanarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai ISKCON Vibhiti Samstabhakachari Srila Prabhupada ki jai Anant Koti Vaishnavrind ki jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityanand Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrind ki jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shyam Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki jai Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai Mayapur Navadip Dham ki jai Jagannath Puri ki jai Gangamay Jamunamay ki jai Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi ki jai Kaliyug Pavan Harinam Sankirtan ki jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Samaved Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki jai Gaur Premanandi Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Hare Krishna. We'll read from the Bhagavad Gita as it is, 12th chapter, text number 11. This chapter is entitled as Devotional Service. Vathaitad asaktosi kartum madyogamashritah sarva karma phalatyagam tata kuru yatatmavan. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. If, however, you are unable to work in this consciousness of me, then try to act giving up all results of your work and try to be self-situated. Purport. It may be that one is unable even to sympathize with the activities of Krishna consciousness because of social, familial, or religious consideration, or because of some other impediments. If one attaches himself directly to the activities of Krishna consciousness, there may be objection from family members or so many other difficulties. For one who has such problem, it is advised that he sacrifices the accumulated result of his activities to some good cause. Such procedures are described in the Vedic rules. There are many descriptions of sacrifices and special functions of punya or special work, which the result of one's previous action may be applied. Thus, one may gradually become elevated to the state of knowledge. It is also found that when one is not even interested in the activities of Krishna consciousness, gives charity to some hospital or some other social institution, he gives up the hard-earned results of his activities. That is also recommended here because by the practice of giving up the fruits of one's activities, one is sure to purify his mind gradually. And in that purified stage of mind, one becomes able to understand Krishna consciousness. Of course, Krishna consciousness is not dependent on any other experience, because Krishna consciousness itself can purify one's mind. But if there are impediments to accepting Krishna consciousness, one may try to give up the results of his actions. In that respect, social service, community service, national service, sacrifice for one's country, etc. may be adapted so that someday one may come to the stage of pure devotional service of the Supreme Lord. In Bhagavad Gita we find it is stated, Yatha pravrittir bhutanam. If one decides to sacrifice for the Supreme Cause, even if he does not know that the Supreme Cause is Krishna, he will come gradually to understand that Krishna is the Supreme Cause by the sacrificial method. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jutapada Kamalan Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Govinda Prabhu. I didn't expect, I knew that he was here, but no, he was my teacher in 1996 when we were studying in regards to leadership and book distribution. No. So I'm sitting here speaking in front of him. So give me your blessings. Hare Krishna. So this is a very wonderful verse because we find here Krishna being extremely compassionate. A compassion with liberal heart, not a compromising heart, is very important. So Krishna, there is no compromising in regards to what is the ultimate goal. And Prabhupada also writes very beautiful purport about sometimes there are impediments. Impediments within ourselves or impediments externally, which makes one not to take Krishna consciousness the way we expect them to take. From an external point of view, they may not be able to practice their sadhana nicely. Like last year, one of our devotees' wife, a very nice person, he worked in railways, very honest person. Then when he retired, he spent most of his time helping in our hospital, preaching Krishna consciousness to the patient. He had a deities in his home, Gaurnitai, worshipping very nicely. But his wife did not take to the process of sadhana bhakti seriously. But she was extremely, cultured, taking care of her children, taking care of her husband, cooking for the deities. So one day, this was winter season, and then she cooked sweet rice for the deities. And that season was quite cold in Bombay. Of course, not compared to, for us, compared to our weather. It was quite cold. There was a wind which blew from her window. So she chanted Hare Krishna. And she chanted Hare Krishna so loudly, those who heard, they were telling me, in that building. She chanted Hare Krishna so loudly and she dropped dead right in front of the deities. So, her husband was in the hospital helping. But just see how Krishna, that she was not a sadhaka from the description what we describe, but there was some sincerity. Connection to devotees was there. And that's how, she perfected her life. Because to chant Krishna's name at the time of death is not easy. There has to be bhava. What Krishna says, it is not mechanical. I remember one student, one medical student, he was asking when Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj, when he was preaching in the colleges, medical college, one student, he said, since you talk about remembering God at the time of death, he said, since I'm a doctor and I will enjoy my life very nicely, then I will kill myself. While killing myself, I will chant Krishna's name. So either way, what will happen? I will have a beautiful, animalistic, enjoyable life. That life is also there. And plus, since I chant Krishna's name at the time of death, I will go back to Godhead. So I don't need to do all this, rules, regulation, chant 16 round, follow the 4 regs, come to the temple, so much of service. Why should I do? He said, I figured it out. I will not come to the temple from tomorrow. But the problem is, Krishna consciousness is not a mechanical system. There is system, no doubt. There are rules, regulation. I remember one time somebody asked this question to Jayadvaita Maharaj, why, even though it is said that, there are no hard and fast rules in chanting Hare Krishna, then why in Mangal Arati there are so many rules? So Jayadvaita Maharaj said, no, there are no hard and fast rule. It's slow and soft rule. You chant slowly and softly. So, people ask this question. And such a beautiful purport. It's a compassionate purport based upon compassionate verse. Because from Krishna's perspective, however one is connected to Krishna, he says, Udara Sarva Evahi. We call Mayapur as Audaryadam. What is Audarya? Audarya means magnanimity. And what kind of magnanimity? A magnanimity of accepting, okay, you are also devotee. When Prabhupada came to America, he could see limitless fault in regards to a culture, a civilization, compared to what he grew up in a very traditional, clean family. But within that mountain also, what did he see? He saw the spark. Why? Because that spark is every living entity is right, full of knowledge, full of bliss, full of eternity. He was able to see beyond all that coverings of so many lifetimes, so much of conditioning of born in certain background. If he had only seen that, then there is no hope. But he was able to see beyond all that the original consciousness of the living entity. And what did he do? He just sparked that, he fanned that spark and made it into a blazing fire. So therefore, Krishna is like that. In the 7th chapter, Krishna explains, Arto Artarthi Jigyasu Jnani Cha Bharatarshava. Certainly they are called as, technically they are called as Kanishtas, neophytes. Oh, he is coming for money. He comes to God for money. Oh, he comes for, his distress. Oh, he has inquisitiveness, in search of knowledge. From the Shuddha Bhakti perspective, that is lower. But Krishna's heart's perspective, since they are coming to me, however they are coming, I call them Udara Sarva Evahi. He said, these are all magnanimous. So there is a technical reality of bhakti and there is a heart reality. When the heart reality supersedes the technical reality, then one becomes a Vaishnava, a compassionate Vaishnava. Otherwise, when we are bound by technical reality, then we become Smarta. Smarta is not a caste. Smarta is a consciousness. Vaishnavism is not a caste. Vaishnavism is a consciousness. So therefore, we see that how Krishna in so many ways can bring people very close. I remember in 2001, I had some sickness, so I was staying in our hospital, and next to my room there was one Prabhupada disciple. Very nice person, but the problem was he would come to me and he would tell, you know what, it takes 4 hours to chant 4 rounds for me. My condition is so strong. And you would be amused that I am able to chant my 16 rounds in 1.5 hours, 1 hour 40 minutes. I said, that does not matter. At least that's what I have learned. That even though it's taking 4 hours to chant 4 rounds, you are giving 4 hours to chant 4 rounds. You're still trying hard. And while trying hard, you could have been frustrated. Arey, just stop it. Why should I chant? It's all about, becoming more pained by chanting. But he kept on chanting. And then eventually something happened to his health and he died. Right. But he went from this world with this consciousness. What was it? I am fallen. I am not so good. There is so much more to learn in my spiritual life. So when we have nothing to give, but you know that you have nothing to give and you regret for, not depressed. There's a difference. You regret that I could have done something more. That regret is very pleasing in the Mahabharatha. When Draupadi, now she has lost everything. Almost her clothes were also, attempted to be taken away by the party of Dushasana, the Asat Sabaya. They lost everything from being the queen of a Chakravarti, Samrat, Ekrat. These words are used, Chakravarti, king of the kings. Right, the very supreme personality of Godhead was there to observe this Rajasuya sacrifice, and within no time, within few days, Draupadi, almost losing her clothes, she's in the forest with the Pandavas. What a change of situation. So when Krishna comes to Pandavas to meet them, one of the regrets of the Pandavas, not that they lost everything, one of the regret is they had nothing to offer. They had nothing to offer to Krishna. So Vyasdev explains that Draupadi asked few questions to Krishna, and Krishna was so sensitive, the distress, that trauma, what you had to go through in public place. It was one thing that you are humiliated in front of someone who is unknown. But you are humiliated right in the presence of those who are supposed to be very, very dear to you, those who are very, very respected by you, from your husbands to great Bhishma, Drona, Kripacharya, And she was none other than queen of Hastinapur. That was a big trauma. So therefore she raises this question to Krishna. Krishna, I was your devotee. I was a queen. I was born out of fire. My birth was not ordinary. And fourth, I was helpless. But nobody protected me. She says, hell with Arjuna's Gandiv. Now one may say, how can she speak? Why can't? No, when somebody does that to you, it is just natural to express. It's very human. It's allowed. She expressed her feeling to Krishna, and then she told Krishna, even you did not come. One may say, how can she say that Krishna came? You know what is Krishna's answer? Krishna does not tell her that, hey, come on, I was there in the form of a sari. He does not remind her. It's so beautiful. Vyasdeva writes it so beautifully. This whole entire episode, Krishna says, wish I was there. I was fighting with Salva. And therefore, in fact, I was not invited for this whole gambling event. If I was invited, I would have not allowed this to happen. And if they insisted, I would have destroyed the entire Kaurava army then and there only. So he gives explanation rather than philosophy. Because Draupadi was not looking for philosophy, she was looking for sympathy. At least that stage. And then Krishna told Draupadi, he said, Draupadi, this is my vow. That the entire Himalayan mountains may come down and become powdered. The sun may stop shining. The moon may stop giving its cool rays. All the rivers and the oceans may get dried. But my promise will never go in vain. Now what is it? That the justice will be given. For this action of the Kauravas, they will face very severe reactions. So Draupadi is so happy to hear, not because Krishna is talking about revenge, he is sympathizing with her. And then she starts crying. There are tears in her eyes. And Vyasdeva says, Draupadi had nothing to offer to Krishna, but she offered her tears from the eyes. And that became an offering. That became her offering to Krishna. Therefore, Sripar Madhvacharya explains in one place for this verse, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. He says, what is Toyam? Toyam is not Bisleri water. Toyam is not, from some special Alp mountains or the Himalayan mountains. Oh, this is a special water. He said, Toyam, he says, the tears from the eyes of a devotee when he acts helplessly. There is no, he feels helpless, but not hopeless. To feel helpless is one thing, but to feel hopelessness is another thing. Because Saraswati Thakur says, hopelessness is sign of atheism. So helplessness should not lead us to hopelessness, but helplessness should lead us to, feeling you're the only person. So Draupadi cried tears and Vyasdeva says that was her offering to Krishna. Because that's the only thing she had. Just imagine that water, Toyam, a salty, hot water. Rupa Goswami explains in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, if you are happy and cry, the tears are cold. You can try it. If you are angry, hurt, pained, then your tears are hot. Very interesting. So Draupadi offered that hot water to Krishna. And Krishna was very satisfied. And therefore Bhagavatam explains, Krishna, Vritrasur explains this in the 6th canto. He says, Krishna is the source of all opportunities. What a beautiful, description. Right? People come to America looking for, it's a land of opportunities, right? But Bhagavatam explains Krishna to be source of all opportunities. That whatever you need from him, Udara Sarvaivahi. And therefore it is but natural to understand Krishna's psychology, Krishna's heart. When we understand Krishna's heart, then it becomes easy to be dominated, fascinated by Krishna, the personality of Krishna. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains in the 10th chapter, when we study Krishna's character, Krishna's vibhuti, Krishna's aishwarya, he gives the example of friend. When you come to know about your friend, how great is your friend? How magnanimous is your friend? How wonderful is your friend? Then naturally, because of that knowledge, your affection, your fascination, your interest in your friend simply goes on increasing. So Krishna is like that. And the most important principle of Krishna is not his grandeur. God's grandeur makes us fearful. But the part of his greatness, his sweetness. That's so big and so wonderful, but is so sensitive. Another episode is there in the Mahabharatha. Very beautiful statements. When when Arjuna took this vow of killing Jayadratha before the sun sets. Now that was a Herculean task. Almost like producing Chaitanya Charitamrita in 2 months. Right? So Arjuna took that decision of killing Jayadratha before the sun sets. And Krishna asked Arjuna, but how will you accomplish this? Do you know whom are you fighting? Arjuna playfully told, my dear Lord, my nature is to take vows and your nature is to fulfill it. Huh? So Mahabharata explains, of course we can't be like that. There was intimate relationship between them. We have to take responsibility. We are servants of Krishna. And Arjuna was also true servant, but sometime he would act playfully with the Lord. So then the Mahabharata explains that night the Lord was not able to rest. He was changing back and forth. He was reflecting about Arjuna. He said, if something happens to Arjuna, I will not live in this world. Arjuna is very life of my life. He is my soul. I am Arjuna's soul and Arjuna is my soul. Now don't ask technically how Arjuna can be Krishna's soul. Krishna is not speaking Upanishad here. He is speaking his heart. The devotee is the soul of the Lord. So then he said, tomorrow evening if Arjuna cannot accomplish what he has taken a vow, then what will I do? I will take my chariot, place all my weapons, and then not only kill Jayadratha, tomorrow the war will be over. So that's how Krishna becomes so emotional here. But this emotional feeling is all based upon affection to his devotee. Then he goes to sleep very nicely. Next morning he calls Daruka, he tells, keep my chariot ready, place my weapons, and when I blow my conch in Rishabha note, that means you should know there is an emergency. The siren is going on. Then you should come to the battlefield because I want to accomplish everything tomorrow.
Just excuse me, sorry for the interruption. We are looking for the owner of the car, Toyota Corolla, license plate number 4DBQ760. And it belongs to one of the devotees because it has got Hare Krishna sticker on the back. There is some issue with the parking of that car. Again, Toyota Corolla, license plate number 4DQB760.
Maybe they are in the kitchen. Oh,
okay.
Should I continue?
Yes.
Okay. So then, now that is Krishna's preparation for this war. He is ready. The war begins. And so many obstacles for Arjuna. First he faces his guru himself. And if Krishna had not advised Arjuna what to do, Arjuna would have been fighting Dronacharya full day. Krishna said, he's not defeatable. Just go around, do a circumambulation. Then when Arjuna does that, when he starts moving, Arjuna was screened by Dronacharya. What are you doing? I never taught you this. He said, I don't find my guru. I only offer obeisances. Then they move on. Then eventually the horses of Arjuna become very tired. Krishna told Arjuna, now we can't move ahead unless the horses get something to eat. So Arjuna comes down, and Arjuna remembers this in the Bhagavatam first canto. He said, when I came down from my chariot, I was an easy target to my enemies, but because Krishna was there, they were so fascinated by Krishna's beauty, none of them they attacked on me. All his remembrance is there. And then eventually, when they come closer, Krishna realized it is not possible. Why? Because the target, Jayadratha, was in distance. And the sun was about to set. So what does Krishna do? Krishna only makes Jayadratha feel that the sun is already set. The war was continuing. Everybody was fighting. Except Jayadratha, nobody knew that the sun has set. So Jayadratha, when he saw sun is set, as if he was a madman, like how India wins the cricket match, right? How people go crazy and mad. They do anything and everything. Like in the last World Cup, when India won, our temple is very close to that stadium. And lots of people, they came close to our temple gate, then they would fold their hands. Jai Bhagwan. And we had gone to drop His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj to the airport. As he reached the airport, India became victorious. Maharaj said, very auspicious. I said, Maharaj, you are flying, but we are going back to the temple to see all the madness. So when we came down, people, making the flag, and they saw, he said, Hare Bharat, 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 Hare, Hare. They were all in there, they were coming, offering obeisance. The whole night, most of our devotees could not sleep because there was madness. Right. So Jayadratha was in that kind of mood, crazy. The problem was, if Arjuna kills Jayadratha, still Arjuna loses his life. If Arjuna does not kill Jayadratha, still he loses his life. Why? Because his father had a benediction that anybody makes his son die, the very person's head will split into thousands of parts, which Arjuna did not know. Maybe Duryodhana knew. Duryodhana was very happy. Either way, I will be victorious. It's a win-win solution. Original win-win solution. But Krishna told Arjun, that sun has not set. Shoot him. But shoot in such a way, let the head roll into the lap of his father, who is performing tapas and samanta panchak in Kurukshetra only. And that's what exactly happened. Now the battle is over, right? And Krishna very naturally congratulates Arjun. He said, Arjun, what a war. What a fight you had. How much hard work you did. Genuinely, if you read the verses, it's not a flattery. Somebody doesn't do anything and you glorify him. No. Like in India, we say, Rahul Gandhi, what a great personality. Right? Right. So it's exactly like that. Sorry, But that's an apt example. Everybody agrees with that. So, sorry, it's a political joke. So then similarly, everything is done by Krishna, but so sincerely, Krishna glorifies Arjuna. And what does Arjuna do? It's very beautiful, cultured. He could have said, no, Krishna, it's all you only. I didn't do anything. He could express humility in a harsh way. No. But Arjuna says to Krishna, he says, my dear Lord, let us become object of your congratulation all the time in our life. Let us be object of your congratulation. Because when a superior person congratulates his subordinate, that is their blessings. That is their ashirvad. And that blessing becomes our power to sustain in spiritual life. So Arjun was qualified to receive that blessing. And he was very eager to receive that blessing. I remember one time Navin Nirad Prabhu, when he came first time, he talked about grabbing the mercy. Remember? Yeah, he talked about grabbing the mercy. And therefore in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Kaviraj Goswami explains that there is a Karuna Pash. No? We should be bound by the Karuna of Guru and Krishna. So Arjuna was completely bound by the Karuna of Krishna, and therefore he was so apt in presenting his words, my dear Lord, let us be object of your congratulation. These are some nice words are there. Again, after the episode of Durvas Muni. Now Durvas Muni came to the Pandavas. That was another strategy of the Kauravas. You know how many ways Kauravas tried to destroy the Pandavas. It was not only physical. The Draupadi incident was to destroy their confidence. Once you lose your confidence and self-will, then you cannot contribute anything. And that episode was also to cause dissension among the Pandavas. And this episode was to use Durvas Muni as their weapon. Right. Durvas Muni was sent by Duryodhana when Draupadi had already finished her eating. And he came with 60,000, brahmachari friends. Right. And he said, I want to eat. And Yudhishthira said, yeah, no problem, we can come because he doesn't have to cook anything. Right. So when they saw there was nothing to feed, Draupadi said to Yudhishthira Maharaj, I've already finished. But Yudhishthira Maharaj said, okay, he told, okay, you go and take bath in Jamuna, then we'll prepare. That is the first time Draupadi, remembers the incident of disrobing of her and how Krishna protected. Meanwhile, she doesn't, not that she officially did not remember, but here she remembered, Krishna, my Lord, you protected me. Now this is more difficult one. Because every problem is difficult when it comes. Right. So when Krishna came to Draupadi, he said, I'm very hungry, can you feed me? She became more hurt. Not feeding Durvas Muni is one thing. But not feeding Krishna is another thing. He said, no, something. So then Krishna saw a small, shark. And when he took that, Durvas Muni and his gang, they are completely filled. So Bhagavatam explains Sahadev, Mahabharata explains Bhim. No, it doesn't matter because Bhima is better. Because when he calls Durvas Muni, there is a roar. So he went, hey Durvas Muni, prasadam is ready, because Bhima doesn't mind lying whenever there is a need. He was very confidently, he would tell this. So when Durvas Muni heard that Bhima has come and is also carrying his mace with him, so he told all his people, he said, I had a problem with one Vaishnava. Now there are 6 Vaishnavas. He said, he remembered the incident of Amrish Maharaj. So it is said that he did not come on this bank only. From the other bank they disappeared. When they disappeared from the other bank, then Bhima is waiting, he did not come back. Then he came back to Yudhishthira and Krishna. They told, my dear Lord, he has not come back. He is very unpredictable. He tells, I will come at 5 o'clock, then he comes next morning 5 o'clock. What if he comes? Krishna said, don't worry, he will not come. And as the Lord was going, the Pandavas, they say, Krishna, they said, we bless you. A devotee offers good wishes to the Lord. Rupa Goswami also explains in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu about this. We wish you well. What is that? That you may always continue to protect your devotees. You may always continue to protect your devotees. Therefore, apparently it may sound the Pandavas are asking for something mundane, but just see the consciousness of Krishna. In the Ramayana, it's a very beautiful, when Lord Ram came to Lanka, the war was almost ready to be fought. Vibhishan tried to communicate to Ravan to change. He said, give away Sita to Ram. She is the cause of your destruction. Since you have kidnapped her, not only give Sita, along with Sita, give your kingdom, give your wealth to Lord Ram. That is what will protect your life. But Ravan was not in any mood of listening. So Vibhishan, he moved back he surrendered to Krishna, Lord Ram, without knowing whether Ram will accept him or not. Everything he gave up. That is explained as anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam. The act of Vibhishan is to give up what is not favorable, is the principle of Shadvida Sharanagati. Give up what is not favorable. What is favorable? To come to the other side. And that Vishwas, that confidence, he did not send WhatsApp, can I come? No, there was no certainty, but he had that confidence that the Lord will accept me. So he flew and he was in the sky. There's a beautiful discussion between Ram and all the monkey heads, Sugriv, Angad, Jambavan and Hanumanji. Ram's question was, can I accept him or not? And eventually there was argument. It's a beautiful long story. But the conclusion was Ram said, I will accept. He told Sugriv. He said, you bring him inside. As Sugriv was going outside, Ram said, don't come back again if it is Ravan. Even Ravan, if he comes, shelter is guaranteed. So Vibhishan comes inside and Vibhishan, surrenders to Lord Ram. Ram told Lakshman, get me some water, I want to coronate Vibhishan. Now Ram has not conquered Lanka, but before only conquering Lanka, he wants to coronate Vibhishan as the king of Lanka. Lakshman brings the water, Vibhishan is already coronated. Then the question is raised. One Vaishnava raises this question. Somebody asks Ram, my dear Lord, you are making Vibhishan as the king of Lanka. What about Ravan if he surrenders to you? Lord Ram did not say, cancel this plan, new plan will make. Lord Ram said, I will make him the king of Ayodhya. And then I will make Bharat the king of Vaikunta. And what will you do? I will go around protecting them. And that's what he did. For Bali Maharaj, Lord Vishnu became his gatekeeper. Bhagavatam explains that Bali Maharaj, when he became king of the Sutala planet, he became gatekeeper, and one day Lakshmi came asking, of course this is not there in the Bhagavatam, but other Puranas talk about it. Lakshmi said, at least you let my husband know from which gate you come out when you come out, because my husband is in anxiety to greet you because you are the king and is the gatekeeper. So let him know which gate you come out of. So Lord Vishnu, Vamandev, Vishnu was guarding Bali Maharaj's gate. And one day Ravan came there. We all know this story in the Bhagavatam. Ravan came to capture Bali Maharaj. And then Lord Vishnu played a soccer. No? He gave a kick to Bali Maharaj, to Ravan, and Ravan flew thousands of miles and he never ever tried to come to Bali Maharaj to capture. That is Krishna. That is Krishna's consciousness. Therefore, Krishna consciousness is one. Krishna consciousness means to be, always remember Krishna. And second way to be Krishna consciousness means to understand Krishna's consciousness. Right, Bhagavad Gita is word of Krishna. Bhagavatam is activities of Krishna. And Chaitanya Charitamrita is mind of Krishna. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitamena Bhutale. To understand the mind of God, it's so important, because when we understand the mind of God, then the whole concept of Godhood, divinity of God, it is not based upon simply grandeur. It is based upon that human sensitivity. And therefore the whole concept of the Lord coming again and again, Avatara. Yada yadai dharmasya glanir bhavati means what? That the Lord is repeatedly coming to this material world. It's not that he's tired. How many times I have to come? These guys don't change only. I am tired. So there is so much of, that compassion. The whole Lord coming to this material world is sign of His unlimited compassion. Another devotee was mentioning, many times we define Paramatma like a monitor, Paramatma like a CCTV, Paramatma like someone who is watching us. But Paramatma is nothing but Lord is extending Himself and staying in everybody's heart as a charity. Purchase me, I am there in your heart. Everybody can have Krishna in their heart, whether one is small insect or a most powerful personality, everybody can have Paramatma in the heart. Therefore, somebody asked Prabhupada that when did you see Krishna first? It's a very nice story. He said that does not make any difference in your life. When I saw Krishna first. Yes, once he told I saw Krishna when I was 4-year-old. But when this time they asked, when did you see Krishna first? He said, what difference does it make in your life when I saw Krishna first? Because if I say I saw Krishna at this time or this age, you may believe or you may not believe. And even if you believe, what difference that is going to make in your life? But I give you the process which is given by the parampara system. If you take that process, then Krishna becomes yours. He is your property. You can experience Krishna. Therefore, bhakti or Krishna consciousness is not something written in the pages which happened in the past, which cannot be replicated in the present. Like sometime you go to these museums, the Native American Museum or Native African Museum, or in Australia there is Native Australian Museum. What do you see? You see a civilization only in the museum, but the civilization is no more existing. So Krishna Bhakti is not a museum piece. It's a market piece. No? It is more easily available than iPad and iPhone. But it never changes. But certainly it changes the principle of how to apply according to different situation so that it is users friendly. It can be applied, and therefore here Krishna is speaking so beautifully to Arjuna, whether it is 12th chapter, whether it is 7th chapter, whether it is conclusion of Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharman Parityajya, it is explained that is not a command, that is invoking. Krishna is not commanding. Sharanagati is not, at a gun point. Sharanagati is Arjun, do not worry, I will give you shelter. So Krishna is calling Arjuna to take his shelter, and when Arjuna heard, even after all this, Krishna is so extending, then Arjuna's consciousness, what happened? I am willing to do anything for you. It is not that when Arjuna surrendered to Krishna, it is not that Arjuna took sannyas. Sarva dharman parityajya. What did he give up? Apparently he did not give up anything. He continued to remain a warrior. He continued to remain a brother of the Pandavas. He continued to remain as the husband of Draupadi. He continued to remain as the friend of Satyaki. He never changed any of his position. Then what did Arjuna give up? What is that Sarva Dharman? The doer's mentality. I am the doer. But he continued to do. But the ahankar had gone. And he became so sensitive. If Krishna is willing to do so much for me, then I am willing to do anything for Krishna. With this consciousness, not the word Sharanagati is giving limitless shelter. With that consciousness, Arjuna became wonderful devotee. Therefore, Prabhupada explains, when he came to America, when he had to go back, he was sick. No, he was in Vrindavan. Then devotees said, don't leave Vrindavan because you might leave your body. What is the point in going back to America again? He said, I don't have such sentiments. He said, I'm like Arjun, a warrior. And to develop that kind of consciousness, a warrior's consciousness, not that we have to hold weapons. The warrior consciousness means that is action-centric. But in the heart, is completely conscious of Krishna. And therefore, along with this, when we read the Bhagavatam, especially the 15th chapter of the first canto, Arjuna's remembrance of Krishna, it's very beautiful. That how many things he achieved in life without Krishna's direct intervention. How many things he achieved with Krishna's direct intervention. Either direct or indirect, in either case, he gave all the credit to Krishna while acting very, very vigilantly. Therefore, Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, the verse in the 8th chapter, that Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mam Anusmara Yuddhacha. There is Yuddha and there is Smaran. When this combination is there, there is a remembrance of Krishna. At the same time, there is action with our senses to serve Krishna. Then Krishna consciousness becomes easily applicable to everybody. And therefore the Lord explains to Arjuna, Vitaraga bhaya krodha man maya mam upashrita bahavo. Sometimes we only quote Manushyanam Sahasreshu. But along with that, this verse also should be quoted. Manushyanam Sahasreshu, that verse is there to tell us how rare Krishna consciousness is. But this verse, Vitaraga Bhaya Krodha, is there to tell us how even you can do it. It's a combination of rarity and encouragement. Krishna is so nice. He said, no, many people have achieved. Baho jnana tapasa puta madbhavam agata. They have achieved perfection. So the Gita gives us the encouragement. Yes, it is certainly rare and difficult, but it is not impossible. If Bhishma achieved it, if Arjuna achieved it, you can also achieve it. And therefore the Bhagavatam, while narrating the story of Kalki also, it talks about some Vaishnavas still existing. And because of them only Bhagavan Kalki will come. And these people, these rare Vaishnavas, will begin the new creation, the Satya Yuga. Because they will protect that Bija Raksha, that potential seed. So Kali Yuga is the seed for Satya Yuga. So Kali Yuga is not so bad. It has the power to start Satya Yuga. So it has the power to start Satya Yuga in the end of Kali Yuga. How much potential everyone has. Ourselves first, and then others also have the power to take Krishna consciousness. Why? Because that is what our original consciousness is. We are originally Krishna conscious. We are not originally sinful. That's a big difference. The good news is what? Krishna is there and we are always connected to Krishna. We are full of knowledge, full of bliss, full of eternity. Remove the covering through Krishna consciousness, then you achieve your constitutional nature of being devotee of Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Govinda Prabhu. In preaching Krishna consciousness, we need to have a balance between rasa and tattva. What is your formula or your secret in balancing the rasa and the tattva? Do you go by your inspiration? Do you go by the audience? Do you go by the mood that you're in at the particular moment? Or what you're trying to achieve or project? What is your secret in balancing the rasa and the tattva? Because it is a very fine line, and it is very easy to drop down on either side and then to either lose out or to feel that I have sold out too easily and too cheaply, and I have entertained at the expense of educating, even though the stories are also educative. But sometimes, from personal experience, I feel this little sadness in my heart. I could have done better. I fell short of the mark. I pleased the crowd, but I am not so pleased by doing this. Can you share some?
Yeah, that reflection is very important. Therefore,
not corresponding to your class. It was a wonderful balance.
Yeah, I agree. Good.
Just your realization how to balance this.
What we see again, Gita talks about this. Krishna says that Buddha Bhava Samanvita. Only bhav without the principle of Krishna consciousness becomes sentimental. And only that knowledge, the pure knowledge, without sensitivity becomes dry. Your own example, sweet rice, quantity and quality. That I always quote that example. If there is sweet rice, very good quality, but only 50 grams, whom will you distribute? But if you make it 5 liter by adding water, then it is no more sweet rice. It is not even water also. Because people will say it is dirty water. Because it ceased to exist as sweet rice. So therefore, this whole principle of Krishna consciousness is the fine balance. And that is what life is all about. Loyalty without compassion is smarta. And compassion without loyalty is waywardness. Too liberal. What is there then? What is the substance? And therefore, I like this verse which Parikshit Maharaj prayed for, florist Sudama prayed for, Dhruva Maharaj prayed for. 3 things. He says, complete attachment to Krishna, and then association of devotees and friendship to the living entities. It is not one. We can't say I am totally attached to Krishna and then I don't compromise this attachment for anything. No, we don't want to compromise. My attachment, part of that attachment is compassion. And part of that compassion is association with equals. And therefore that's how the love flows. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur talks about it. Love, the complete love is affection to Krishna, compassion to living entities, and friendliness to equals. We cannot say, I am only 2 but other thing is not there. That is not a complete wheel. The wheel has to be complete. So therefore, every time a devotee should see, okay, I am very loyal to Krishna, but where is compassion? It's not bringing more people to Krishna consciousness. And the purpose of compassion, so that they can love Krishna exclusively. Otherwise there is compassion, but where is the substance? And to know the difference or the compassion and loyalty, we need devotees to tell us, hey, this is a little bit like if you see when the trucks are going in India, many times they overload, wherein they are leaning like a bicycle. If the wheel is aligned and the load is one-sided, then slowly it can tilt towards the right side, or it can tilt to the left side. Right is also not safe, left is also not safe. What is safe? In the middle only. Somebody gave a very beautiful example of bicycle. He said, where does steadiness comes in? Where there is progress. When the bicycle moves, that gives steadiness. When you stop the bicycle, it falls. Therefore, preaching, personal development and friendship is what creates the balance. Otherwise, either way, there is a clash between compassion and loyalty. Sometimes there is a clash. We do these seminars on clash of dharma. It's not about good and bad. Amongst devotees, it is not about good and bad. The clash is between 2 good. Some are very focused on, we need to be exclusively, loyal. And some are saying, Baba, loyalty is there, what about compassion? So somebody is taking one side, compassion, another taking taking the side of, loyalty. Like in Ramayana, very beautiful again, Sita and Lakshman. When Ram went away chasing Marich, and Marich made that sound, hey Sita, hey Lakshman, hey Sita, hey Lakshman. Then Sita told Lakshman, go, I think Ram is in difficulty, out of concern. That's a good quality, to have concern to your dear one is wonderful. Lakshman said, there is no cause of concern. He said, just now we saw a few days before Lord Ram single-handedly in 40 minutes, 14,000 demons were killed. No, fastest century, right? In 40 minutes, they understand this. No? So in 40 minutes, 14,000 people were killed. He said, why worry? Confidence. But that confidence of Lakshman and Sita's concern were at clash. There was a war between them, out of love only. And Sita, out of concern for Ram, accused. Can you imagine 14 years, just 10 months were left. Sita said, your whole intention is to see that my husband is dead, so that he can enjoy me. Lakshman said, my God, this is there. So questioning people's intention is the original problem, Mother Sita only. So it's not Lakshman was very hurt. And what does Lakshman say? All women are idiots only. So when emotions are at high, then you don't speak truth. You speak emotion. They should not be taken seriously. You can't say, Dekh, idhar bola hai. There it's written here. Shastra is speaking. It is not Shastra. Emotions are involved. And one is Guru Tattva and one is Shakti Tattva. So there is a clash between two of the most prominent energy of the Lord. They are teaching us. And for what? In serving Krishna. Right. So Lakshman had to live. And when he went there, Ram said, what are you doing here? I never told you to come here. So Sita was questioning Lakshman's integrity, and Ram was questioning Lakshman's competency. When your character is questioned and your competence is questioned, what else is left with you? Take sannyas and go. Lakshmana said, I have resigned from both of their service. Original servant, he is the source of all servants. And the people whom he is serving, they are questioning his, that's like a psychological problem. It's abuse. It's a very beautiful story. So that is what the problem. So it's not when we see challenges, conflict amongst devotees, amongst the leaders, we see that all the time. But it's but natural. But from that churning only, some butter will come out. Not Amul butter, but sweet butter. Hare Krishna. I hope it makes sense.
This is a question from one of the internet viewers.
Oh my God, that is also there.
He's Anand Das from Delhi, and his question is, thank you very much for this wonderful class. Prabhuji, how to develop taste in chanting?
What is that?
How to develop taste in chanting?
Oh, that's, I don't know. Taste in chanting, that's, now at least we know we need to chant. Because we have promised to our spiritual master that we will chant our 16 rounds and follow the 4 regulative principle. Taste is not our domain. The responsibility is our domain. Therefore, there are certain things which is within our control and there are certain things which is under Krishna's control. What is within our control? Our sadhana is within our control. Daily practice of Krishna consciousness is within our control. And what is not within our control? When we go back to Godhead. That is not our discussion, because it's not my job when to go. It's Krishna's job. So let us not discuss what is not our job. Our job is to perform our devotional service diligently. So similarly, taste. There are so many books they can read. Burijan Prabhu's book. There are Sachidanand Maharaj's books. There is book on the entire Prabhupada's quotation on Nam. A lot of description. But the simple principle is that if we can do diligently sadhana, that is what. Otherwise, developing taste, I have not developed it. So I don't know also. When I ask school children, do you like chanting? I say, I don't like. They're very honest. Then I tell them, even I don't like. But because my guru has told, because I'm convinced about the philosophy, therefore I'm chanting Hare Krishna. Like if you take Ayurvedic medicine, which I'm taking, very bitter. I have to take now. When I remember about that medicine, it's very bitter. But you have been told, take it every day. It will work. That medicine is never going to become sweet. However, nursing Arti I chant, the medicine will remain bitter only. So at this stage, at our bodily platform, Hare Krishna Mahamantra is like Ayurvedic medicine. When will it become nectar? That is Krishna's domain. I can never make it into a nectar. I can only take it as a aushadhi, and that's what Bhaktivinoda Thakur also explains. It's an aushadhi. Whether I like it, I don't like it, but I know it. It works. So therefore, keep chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And let Krishna take his responsibility of making it tasteful. Should not worry about it. Because if we worry about it, then what happens? We are waiting. After 5 years, after 7 years, then what happens? We stop, no? Go to another Ayurvedic doctor. No? Keep changing doctors. Why? Because we say, hey, the medicine was always bitter. Is there a medicine which is very tasteful? No, medicine is never tasteful. Health is tasteful, but the medicine is a bitter. So similarly, at this stage, to ask about taste, at least, I don't know. If somebody have the taste, sweet taste, we can offer it. But it is guaranteed. Krishna will do that. Hari Bol. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. In your class, you said we should become dominated by Krishna, and then just very brief, very shortly afterward, you said it should be very sweet relationship.
Yeah.
So, what does it mean to be dominated by Krishna, and how does it go together with a sweet relationship?
Yeah, domination is not somebody he's causing suffocation, sitting on our throat and catching our neck, making us feel choked up. Not that kind of domination. Domination is caused by, like when Rukmini, she realized that Shishupal does not deserve her service. When we want to serve, the other party should be qualified to accept our service. When she realized that Shishupala is not qualified, she wrote to Krishna. Very, very, dynamic. Prabhupada writes, since you are the Kshatriya woman, she took charge of her life in her own hand. She did not cry helpless. She called, you come and steal me. Right? Because why? Because Rukmini was dominated by Krishna's character. And she writes, Tribhuvana Sundara, that verse is very beautiful verse there in the Bhagavatam. That is not only beautiful, but there are so many good qualities. So therefore, that domination, which is the pleasurable, which is nice, which is very fascinating. That is how Krishna's sweetness, these qualities of Krishna, very liberal. But again, not at the cost of anything is okay, whatever you want to do, it's okay. He's compassionate, he's liberal, but the goal is very clear, that we have to achieve that goal of 12.8. Mayyeva manadastam mayi buddhi nivashya nivashastu mayyeva ata urdam na samshaya. That let your heart be completely, with me. So that is the goal. But the journey could be for some people, long one, but at least they are in that path. That is all. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
What time we should stop? Okay.
Prabhu, this is a question which in Bhagavad Gita, Varnashrama is described as something decided based on nature and activities and not on birth. But yet in Mahabharatha, we see multiple times where Karna is insulted as Sutaputra. So at that time itself, Varnashram was corrupted, or what, how to understand
what is the meaning of Sutaputra?
Son
is
of
it an insult? First of all,
at least it is used as an insult.
First of all, where it said that Sutaputra is called as an insult? Bhima calls somebody Adham Brahman. He calls that to Ashwathama, a son of a Brahmana. Even that could be insult. What is the definition of Suta? Suta Goswami. The word Suta is not a slanderous word. Suta is, unfortunately, some of the English translation, Suta is translated as son of a carpenter. Suta has nothing to do with carpentry. Right. And Suta is sometimes consciously translated as son of a chariot driver. No, Suta is a community. Their one of the most important job was to be the confidential minister of the king. And therefore, part of being a confidential minister is to drive their chariot. That was the secondary job. The primary was their confidential minister. Sumantara was one of the 8 ministers of Dasharath Maharaj. And he's a Suta. Read the Ramayana. And what kind of freedom of speech he had? He was not slanderous. Right in the presence of Vashishta, who is the guru of the Raghukul, in front of Dasharath Maharaj, right in the presence of Kaikeyi, who is the most powerful queen, Sumantara tells the story of Kaikeyi's mother. She chastises her for being what she is. And if he was a Suta, from what you are mentioning, he could never raise his words because he was the minister. Same thing, Sanjay is a Suta. But what kind of Suta is he? Certainly he is a chariot driver. But why? Because he is a confidential servant, a confidential assistant. And here Sanjay, he is as blunt as Vidura in regards to speaking to Dhritarashtra. Right. Suta Goswami, one of the most prominent disciples of Shukadeva Goswami, was speaking to 80,000 Brahmanas. They were not getting suffocated. Oh my God, is Suta, we have to hear from him. So therefore, the scriptures do not talk about caste system. We need to go back to scriptures to understand, what is not caste system. So therefore, guna karma is a profession. You could be a professionally Kshatriya, but psychologically may be a Brahmana. So that's what Krishna is explaining. Or you may be professionally a Shudra, but you could be a Brahmana. Krishna quotes in the 11th canto the story of that Dharmavyad, when he's teaching to Uddhav, 11th canto, Bhagavatam. He talks about Tuladhar. He is a Vaishya. What does this story of Dharmavyad is there? Dharmavyad means Dharma Vyad. It's a contradictory word. Vyada means butcher. It should be called as Adharma Vyad. But the word is used by the Bhagavatam, Mahabharatha also, Dharma Vyad. And Dharma Vyada's name is quoted by Krishna to Uddhav in the list of devotees, which includes the gopis of Vrindavan. And what was this Dharma Vyad? Dharma Vyad was told, one Brahmana, that bird story is there. Right, he looked at the bird and the bird was burnt to ashes. He said, my God, I am so powerful. But he also felt sorry, I burned the bird. It doesn't talk about he becoming only arrogant, but he also talks about being sorry for burning the bird. When he came to that lady, she told, wait a minute. Then he was waiting, Bhiksha. But then suddenly her husband came, so she kept on serving him. Not that she forgot. So when the lady came out, this, it's a very sensitive how the culture is. This Brahmana said, I was waiting because he told me to wait. He should have told me that I should not be waiting. I would have gone. That means he was following the order of a lady to wait. Unless she had told, get out, he would have not gone. Therefore he was standing. Therefore he was upset. You told me to wait and you did not give me. And he stared at her little bit while saying, she said, I am not dead bird, okay? Don't stare at me. He was shocked. How does she know? No. Then she said, he asked her, how do you know? He said, no, just because I do my duties nicely, keeping God in center. If you want to know more about Dharma, you go to Dharma, this Vyada, a butcher. This Brahmana did not tell what nonsense you are talking about going and learning from a butcher. He walked so many cities to came to this place. He saw this Dharmavada selling meat. And Dharmavad came to him and said, you have come from that village, that lady sent you. He was shocked. No. How is it possible? Some traditional WhatsApp message. So then he said, wait till I do my job. It's a very beautiful story. One part we learn from this is that there was extreme liberal views in regards to accepting knowledge. If the knowledge is right, doesn't matter where it comes from. It comes from Shudra, it comes from Suta, it comes from some person. Right. So therefore, how much liberal? Even recently somebody sent an article, even American president, if you study, even it talks about a lot of liberal, so many families member only have become presidents of America. 80% of India's IS officer, they talk about liberal leftist, they slander caste system like anything, which should be, no doubt, but not Varnashram. 80% of the IS officers are officers coming from previous generation, their children only. Take for film industry also, same thing happens. Kapoors and Khannas, right? Or you take journalism also, same thing happens. Huh? So when you destroy Varnashram in a wrong way, but you are continuing a very controlled caste system, which is not there in the scripture. Now who was Sudikshna? The wife of Drupad. She was a daughter of Suta. Because Kichak was her brother. He was a Suta. And the Pandavas married their daughter Uttara to Abhimanyu. And if actually Karna was insulted, how in the first place they allowed him to fight also? They could have said, you cannot be allowed to fight. No? So therefore, it is a bogus thing that scriptures promote caste system. Absolutely wrong. What the scriptures say, there is a greater facility for someone who is raised in that background to take up that same profession. And therefore, most people would choose out of their own choice, not because of helplessness. Recently, there was a seminar on economics, traditional economics. And one lady spoke, they invited some devotees also. This lady spoke, she said, if you study the Chammar, means cobbler, no, he's Shudra, but he's not Das. He's free from any owner controlling him. A barber, he never worked for anybody. He was a free person. Right. A potter, he's a Shudra, never worked for anybody. Because what is the concept? Because we know the Vedas say that the greatest gift God has given to us is free will, freedom. And therefore nobody has the right to take anybody's freedom. Therefore now is the greatest slavery. So when we talk, there has to be some debate, a critical analysis, not a slander. So the Vedic culture gave greater freedom to people because that is once you have freedom, then you can choose it to give it to Krishna. If you do not have the freedom, already you have chosen many masters, then we say there is no time. Why? Because everything is given to some master. Therefore, being freed from the clutches of the masters is very important. So the Bhagavatam and the scriptures would never allow that. No, they would never allow, because that destroys your ability to come closer to God. Therefore, every person, a farmer, never controlled by anybody. A Kshatriya, Prabhupada explains, even at the last moment he could say, before the war begins, not during the war. Before the election you can change the party, but what happens after the election only people change the party. You Yutsav, change the party. He had the right. Nobody slandered him. He chose to fight on the side of the Pandavas, even though he was a step brother of Duryodhana. Vibhishan changed the party before the war began. If a Brahmana chooses, okay, I don't like this country's policies, the king is corrupt, he is not respecting the knowledge, he can move to another country. Prabhupada talks about when they would see the farmers would see, one king is conquering another king. What would you do? It doesn't matter who is the king because I need to give 1/6 to whichever king comes. Because he knew whether the king are fighting, they are fighting Dharma Yuddha. So therefore the Shastras would never ever talk about this. And Bhima would do that. Why? Because for him it didn't matter. He was equal to everybody. Whether it is Karna, give him Gali. Or whether it is Dronacharya. If he is wrong, he is wrong. He would come little strongly. He is not like Yudhishthira Maharaj. Soft, you are all good, very nice. But greatness is Yudhishthira Maharaj and Bhima work together. One is aggressive and one is soft. But they are working together. Right. So therefore to say, he was particularly, targeted, it itself is a wrong understanding. Whatever good is there, Vasudev glorifies him. Whatever bad is there, it's all based upon dharma only. Right. He was made king. Why can't you see that? He was made king of Angadesha, even though Duryodhana was not qualified to make king because he was not king. He himself is not king, he was not prince, then he made king also. And from that perspective, that kingship was illegal. But it was allowed, he became king of Angadesh. They accepted and they fought also. Arjuna allowed him to, do that exhibition. The problem was he was not even in that. That was only meant for the Rajkula. Right. In that, to come and try to do something, that is arrogance. Right. I will conclude. I remember one of our devotees' father, he left his body, Krishna Chandra Prabhu, Mafatlal Industries. 2 years back, he left his body in Chitrakoot. He was a devotee of Lord Ram. He wanted to leave his body in Chitrakoot. And then we all went. Some of us, we went to that, that function. And then there was a servant of his. He was suffering for 7-8 years. And the servant's name was Narayan. And he served him so nicely, so nicely served him, doing everything for him with genuine heart. But when the departure took place, because he was such a big figure in that area, thousands of people came there, the local politicians came, industrialists came. So in that main truck, all these big people were there, and the servant was also there. And suddenly when he saw the crowd is increasing, he got down from the truck. And I told the grandson, I said, hey, Priya, bring him up. He has served. He tried him so much to ask him to come up because you are the one who served him. He said, no, this is my position. He stayed down, he would not come up. I can never forget that. That was his self, dignity. He said, what is my position? I have done my duty, but I will stay here only. No, he had his own dignity. That was a very profound. When Suman Mantara, she started becoming very close to the queen, that was the problem. She should have known, okay, my position is what? I have my dignity, I have a position, let me not go close to the queen. Because she became so close to the queen and queen took her so closely, and that was a destruction. Therefore there is no such thing. There was such a freedom of speech, and you would not see that they would disappear next day. It happens now. If you talk about freedom of speech, you talk the truth, then you disappear only. Nobody comes to know what happened. The news says he had a heart attack, accident mein death ho gaya. So which had greater, freedom of speech? The Shastra story. But it's very unfortunate that people have manipulate, because, and we don't say that the discrimination did not happen, but that has nothing to do with scripture. No, we should go back to erase those kind of behavior through scriptures. And therefore, if you see many literatures, there's a big there's a conspiracy also. Some other try to connect it to scripture only. You know, when the rape incident happened, if you study the statistics of rapes, you know, it's everywhere. It should not happen. But what people do, unfortunately, this happens, oh, this is there in the scriptures only. You know, Ram is responsible. The Pandavas are responsible. Right. So like that they try to slander so that people's faith in the scriptures becomes less, and then you don't take to the path of spirituality. And that is our fight. You know, it's an intellectual war to debate. We will debate them, you know, but don't burn them. No, it's only a debate. It's a very interesting debate about proving the scriptural authenticity, the scriptural cultural authenticity, that the caste system has nothing to do in regards to birth. It is all about qualities. But in a community was natural for a carpenter to accept because he was also a free person. No? The whole poverty concept has come last 250 years if you talk about India. Otherwise, if you see gold, you know, kind of gold people would have. I was in one village, they said the most of the land which was there, every village would have extra land. Now this village where I had gone, that village is small, 400 people stay there. So that village has about 400 acres of extra land, other than what people own. And what would they do? If the carpenter would work nicely, rather than giving them money, they would give them land. Now which is more important? You know, that is wealth. Prabhupada explained, land and cows, they are real wealth. Because everything else is liquid, it will just get destroyed, giving money. Therefore, money was not there, wealth was there. People say, they were never given salary. Yes, they were not given money, but they were given something tangible wealth. I personally saw, therefore, you know, somebody, carpenter, or even somebody like in India called bhangi, you know, it sounds bad word, but even they had land. And now in Bombay, people have big degrees, but they are lying like Trishanku, you know, in a 26-story building. Where is the land? You own a flat, but the land is somebody else's. It's so, that is dravya, that is not dhan. The building comes down, no, you never touch a land only. So who, a bhangi having a 1 acre of land is more stable, or a Bombay guy living in a 26-story building which is reclaimed land, anytime, no, Earth, Bhumi Devi becomes a little ecstatic. No? Right. So it's gone. Therefore our whole reference has to be scriptural only. From scripture you see everything. Prabhupada called it as Shastra Chakshu. And then analyze everything. If that is not done, then we also start, oh my God. Certainly we don't disagree that there is last 500 to 700 years this system was there. No, some other where it came, you know, that's a different story. But certainly it is not there in the scripture. Certainly not. Neither in Ramayana, neither in Mahabharata, nor in the Bhagavatam. Because as I said, Suta Goswami, one who spoke Bhagavatam to 80,000 Brahmanas, what other proofs you want? We'll stop here. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. Thank you for this opportunity. Hare Krishna.
Is Govinda